Good evening, everyone, and to every single competitor who has made it here to Vancouver Whistler. I want you to know something before I say anything else. You are the reason this exists. Not me, not the organisers, not the sponsors.
The Toronto Games in 2017
when I look out at this field,
were
at
incredible.
these faces, at
And
the
I'm
men
told
and
that there
women
is
who have carried
pretty
weight
much no
that most
rivalry
people will
between
never
East
understand.
and West Coast,
I feel
especially when it
something
comes to
that
sport.
I honestly struggle to put into words. And
So I
those
have a
of
question
who
for you,
know me
Vancouver.
well know that's
Are you
saying
ready to show
something.
Toronto and the world
But I'll try.
how the games are done?
Because you deserve that much at least. I have stood on this stage at every Invictus Games.
Good.
And every single time, I am humbled.
We don't have to go through that
Not
again.
in
That
the
was
polished press
perfect
release
the first
kind
time.
of way.
Thank you.
Genuinely, deeply,
I would
in
like to
my
begin
chest, humble.
by honouring the First Nations who are
Because
hosting
what you
this
have
year's
done,
games.
what you chose
Lil'wat,
to do when the world
Musqueam,
told you
Squamish,
that you were
and
broken,
Tsleil-Waututh.
that you were finished,
Hikes
that the
up,
best of you
Kukwila.
was behind you. You looked that narrative straight in the eye, and you said, no. You said,
From the bid
not
for the
yet.
games
You said,
through to this
watch
week's
me.
competition,
And here you are.
we have walked together
Here
side
you
by side on this journey.
Memorial Day
and
reminds
we are
us
so
of those
grateful
who
to
gave
you
everything.
for having
Invictus
these games
reminds us
on
of
your
those
land.
who are still giving, still fighting,
Today,
still choosing every morning to get back up.
today,
That
and for the
is
next
not
week,
weakness dressed
Warriors
up in sport.
unite.
That is the definition of strength. And I am so incredibly proud to stand here with you, for you,
In this
and
moment of
always,
difficulty
always
and division
beside you.
in many
Good
parts
morning,
of the world,
everyone. And
we
what a
gather
morning
here
it is.
in Vancouver.
To every
in a
single
spirit
veteran and
of
wounded
unity.
warrior gathered here today,
We represent
welcome.
23
Welcome
nations.
to Vancouver, welcome
Speak
to Whistler,
many different
and
languages,
welcome home.
and
Because
reflect
that is
the full
exactly what
breadth
this place
of the
is.
world's religions
Looking out at
and
all of
faiths.
you right now, I
Beyond
want you to know that
any
this
differences,
this moment
here at
is
the
not
Invictus
lost on me.
Games,
Not
we are
for a single
grounded
second.
in mutual respect.
I have stood on parade
Competing
grounds.
fiercely,
I have served
but
alongside
believing in one
brothers and
another,
sisters in uniform,
supporting
and I
one
carry
another,
that with me every
and
day of my life.
rooting for one another.
So when I say that being here, standing before you, is one of the greatest honours of my life, I mean that with every fibre of my being. You are not just participants at a Games. You are the reason these Games
I love
exist.
you guys.
You are the reason I
Listen,
exist in this
The
space.
Games,
And I see
the Games
you,
were born
I
more than a
truly
decade
see.
ago.
As Prince Harry
From a
stepped
promise
forward
that
to
I made to
address the
myself.
gathered assembly of military veterans
promise
and wounded
to uphold
warriors at
my
the opening
obligation.
ceremony of the
A sacred
Invictus
obligation
Games Vancouver
after my own
Whistler
decade
2025,
and privilege of military
something
service.
truly profound
To do
and
whatever
deeply
I
moving
could to
filled
help
the
my
air.
fellow brothers and
A
sisters heal.
recognition, raw
and to champion
unspoken yet
everything
powerfully felt,
that we
of
stand
the
for.
immeasurable sacrifice these men and women had given in service to their nations. Every face in that crowd told its own story. A story
Over the
of
past
courage
decade,
tested beyond
I've
ordinary
lost count
human
of the
endurance,
times that we've
of
heard you tell
resilience
us
forged
that the
in the
Invictus
fires of
Games
conflict,
saved you.
of battles fought not only
Respectfully,
on distant
I
shores,
disagree.
but within the quiet,
Invictus
often
didn't
invisible
save you.
struggles of
You saved
recovery
yourself.
and healing. Prince Harry, himself a veteran who understands the weight of that uniform and the cost of wearing it,
It was
spoke
you
directly to them,
who pushed through
not
the
above
doubt
them,
and
not
despair.
around them, but to them.
You who
Honouring their
summited your own
dedication
mountain
with the kind
and
of
brought us
sincerity
along with you.
that cannot be scripted.
It was you
acknowledging
who
the
kept
unique
going
and relentless
even
challenges
when you
that
didn't
wounded
think
warriors
you had
carry
any more
long
to
after
give.
the fighting has ceased.
We didn't
and
do that.
reflecting back to each of them
You
a
did.
respect so genuine that it visibly moved even the most stoic among the crowd. In those faces, lined with experience,
The Games
lit
simply
with pride,
reveal what is already
softened
within
by
you,
the warmth of being
that
truly
scarcest
seen.
and most
You could
precious
read
of the world's
everything.
resources.
Love, admiration,
Character.
trust, and a
A
deep,
spirit
abiding
of fortitude
respect
and
that words
perseverance
alone could
that
never
can never
fully capture.
be defeated.
The Invictus Games
That
exist
is
for
the
one
magic
reason
of
and
the
one
Invictus
reason
Games.
alone: to look a wounded warrior in the eye and say, "You are not finished. You are not forgotten, and this world
For one
still
of the
needs
most
everything
powerful
you
ways
have
of
left
healing
to give."
comes not
That
from the
is
hospital
mission.
or
That
recovery
has
centre,
always been the mission.
but from having
Born
a
from
sense of
Prince Harry's
purpose.
own witnessing of the invisible
A sense
wounds carried home
of
from the
belonging.
battlefield, the Games were never
being a
designed to
part
be a spectacle.
of something greater
They were
than
designed to be a
ourselves.
lifeline, a stage
And that
where competition
healing,
strips away the
though
clinical
it
language
begins
of
with you,
rehabilitation and
extends to your
replaces it
children
with
and
something
loved
far more
ones
powerful.
who delight
The roar
in the
of a
simple
crowd,
gift
the burn
of
of a
seeing you
finish
smile
line,
once
the shoulder
again,
of a teammate who has
of
walked
knowing
through
your
the same
mind
fire.
isn't
Every
someplace else.
event, every medal,
And that you are
every
fully
moment of
present.
camaraderie shared between athletes from nations that have sometimes stood on opposite sides of history, all of it serves a singular, transformative vision. Sport, you see, does
At this
something
moment,
that therapy alone
when there is no
cannot
shortage
always
of crises,
reach. It
no
reminds a
absence
person
of
of what their body
uncertainty,
can do, rather than
no
cataloguing
lack
what it can
of
no
weak
longer
moral
manage.
character in the
And so
world.
here, in Vancouver,
The values you
Whistler,
embody,
2025,
the way
with
you carry
snow-capped
yourselves,
mountains bearing quiet
not only at the
witness,
Invictus Games,
lives
but
were not
each
merely
and every
celebrated.
day.
They were changed,
Your courage,
redirected,
your resilience,
reignited. One
your humanity
determined stride
illuminate
at
a
a time.
path forward for us all,
The heart
and for
of
that
Invictus.
we thank you.
Prince Harry and the warriors who inspire him. What struck you most, if you were watching closely, was not the polished ceremony or the grand staging
Your
of it all.
leadership did not
It
end
was the moment
when you
Prince
stepped
Harry's
off the battlefield
eyes found the
or
veterans
took off
in that
the uniform.
crowd, and everything else
It endures.
just fell away.
The example you
His
set
admiration was
is a
not
compass
performed,
for the
not
world.
rehearsed for the cameras.
We need
it was
you,
raw,
and
it was real,
will
and it
always
was written
need you.
all over his face in a way that
Once
no
asked Nobel
speechwriter
laureate
could have scripted.
Toni Morrison,
And when
how
you
we
turned your
survive
gaze from Harry
whole
to the faces
in the world.
of the men and women sitting
She
before
replied,
him, what you saw
"Sometimes you don't
reflected
survive
back
whole,
was something equally
you
powerful.
just survive in part.
Mutual respect,
But the
deep
grandeur
and
of life
unspoken,
is that
the
attempt.
kind that only exists
Not
between
about
people
that
who
solution.
understand sacrifice.
It is
without
about
needing to
being as
explain.
fearless as one can
These were not strangers
and
to one
behaving
another in
as
spirit.
beautifully as one
Every
can.
story Harry has carried
under
of
completely
loss, of
impossible
resilience, of fighting to
circumstances.
find yourself again after the
So,
battlefield has taken pieces of you.
As we embark on
Those
this year's
stories
competition,
live in the
here
bones
is my
of every
challenge
veteran in that
to
room.
all of you.
And they knew it.
Show the
They
world
felt it.
how you behave.
You could see it
under
in the way they
completely
leaned in,
impossible
the way their
circumstances.
eyes softened,
Show
the
the
way
world
a nod here
your
and a
fearlessness.
quiet exhale there
Show the
said
world
everything that
the
applause
grandeur
alone
in your
never
attempt
could.
at victory.
This is
Show
what
the world
Invictus was
why
always
you
meant to be.
are
Not a
Invictus.
spectacle,
Thank
but
you.
a conversation between souls who have walked through fire, and one man determined to make sure the world never looks away from him. And perhaps what struck me most, what I think will stay with everyone who was in that arena long after the torches have gone cold and the flags have been folded, was the trust. You could see it written plainly on their faces, these men and women who have known the very worst of what the world can ask of a human being. And yet there they stood, shoulders back, eyes forward, because someone they believed in was standing right there with them. Prince Harry has always occupied a rare and remarkable space. 1 foot in the world of service, of sacrifice, of things that cannot be unsaid or unseen, and the other foot reaching back toward the rest of us, the public, the civilians who can only imagine, pulling us gently but firmly into understanding. He is a bridge, and he knows it, and more importantly, they know it. When he spoke directly to those veterans, not at them, not about them, but to them, you watched something shift in the room. Confidence rose like a quiet tide. Because here was a man saying, without flinching, I see exactly what you are capable of, and meaning every single syllable. And that, right there, is where hope lives, not in grand gestures or polished speeches, but in the moment one person looks another dead in the eye and says, your story is not over. The best of it may still be ahead. The spirit of Invictus, Prince Harry at the opening ceremony, Vancouver, Whistler, 2025. And to each and every one of you who has competed, who has trained, who has pushed through the pain and the doubt and the darkness to stand here today. I want you to know that what you have achieved is nothing short of extraordinary. These games are not simply about sport. They are about the highest expression of human will, the kind that is forged not in comfort but in fire. You have carried your nations on your shoulders. You have worn those colours with a pride that no injury, no struggle, no sleepless night could ever strip away. When the world looks at you, and the world looking at you, they do not see what was taken from you. They see what you refuse to surrender. That is the Invictus spirit. That is spirit. And every medal, every finish line crossed, every moment you dared to show up and compete at this level, at highest level, is a testament to the warrior that lives within you still. The love, admiration, and unbreakable bond. Prince Harry at the Invictus Games, Vancouver, Whistler, 2025. And none of it, happens in isolation. Because behind every warrior standing on that field, there is someone who stood beside them in the dark. Someone who held their hand through the sleepless nights. Someone who refused to let them give up. The faces of family members and loved ones in that crowd told a story just as powerful as the one being told on the stage. Tears of pride, quiet nods of recognition, the kind of love that doesn't need words because it has already been tested by fire. That is what the Invictus Games understands so deeply, that recovery is never a solo mission. And what makes these games something truly extraordinary is the way they dissolve borders and uniforms and rank, bringing together veterans and wounded service members from nations across the globe, bound not by the conflicts that once defined them, but by the shared language of resilience and courage that now unites them. From the mountains of Vancouver and Whistler to every corner of the world watching, this was a reminder that no veteran walks this road alone. Because the networks of support, the communities built through competition, through camaraderie, through simply showing up for one another, are the foundation upon which every ongoing recovery is built, one hard-fought day at a time. The warrior's spirit. Prince Harry's opening ceremony address at the Invictus Games, Vancouver, Whistler, 2025. So keep going, keep pushing, keep showing the world what it means to carry wounds that others cannot see, and still rise, still compete, still laugh, still love, still live. You are not just fighting for yourselves today. You are fighting for every young service member who will come home changed, uncertain, wondering if there is a place in this world for who they have become. And because of you, because of what you are building here at these Invictus Games, the answer will always, always be yes. The generations who follow in your boots will look back at what you have done here in Vancouver and Whistler, and they will find the courage to take their own next steps, because you took yours first. And never forget, you do not carry this alone. Look to your left, look to your right. That is your strength, that is your armour now. Together, as one family of warriors drawn from every nation, every branch, every battle, there is nothing you cannot face, nothing you cannot endure, and nothing you cannot overcome. Welcome to the Invictus Games. Now, let's show the world what we're made of. The enduring legacy of Prince Harry's opening ceremony address at the Invictus Games, Vancouver, Whistler, 2025. And so, as these extraordinary games draw their opening chapter to a close and the competition ahead promises moments of breathtaking courage, an unimaginable heart, Prince Harry stepped back from the microphone with one final truth held close. That every single person gathered in this arena, every veteran who had fought through darkness to stand in this light, every caregiver who had quietly carried another's burden, every family member who had held someone together when they were falling apart. Every one of them mattered, profoundly and permanently, and that nothing about their sacrifice would ever be forgotten on his watch. He spoke of a future where healing is not a destination but a daily act of bravery, where these games would ripple outward long after the medals were hung and the torches dimmed, planting something unshakable in the hearts of all who competed, all who watched, all who simply dared to show up. Because that is the lasting gift of Invictus, not the victory laps or the podium moments, though those are magnificent and earned, but the quieter, deeper truth that was written on every face in that Vancouver crowd as Harry spoke, that they are seen, they are valued, they are loved, and the world is richer, stronger, and more whole because they chose to keep fighting.